We're lying. All the meeting to order. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we pray. O Lord God, we come before you in prayer, acknowledging the blessings of government and administration. You are a God of order and have blessed us with the establishment of governing officials to provide civil harmony and concord. Be with us in this meeting and give us strength and wisdom to pursue goals which please you. Grant us the courage to support those things which are right and according to your ordinances. For we ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Roll.
Tellini,
Present.
Presque,
Here.
Hughes,
Here.
Libby. Here. Crow.
Here.
Approval of the agenda. Any additions or deletions besides? Apparently you're going to delete number 3. Request to use the courthouse lawn. Correct.
Okay, what was that originally being requested for?
The festival.
Craft show.
For a craft show on the 4th of
Oh.
July weekend, the person's withdrawn their request.
Okay,
There's somebody from out of town organizing it and they didn't realize what was going on in Hanaway and what they'd be competing with.
right, okay, I understand, thank you.
Any other additions?
I have you can add it as item 6. Request to formally notify zoning official of contract termination, 30-day notice,
The ZA.
ZA. Yep, I have a number 7. Authorized to post for assistant clerk to the building and zoning office.
Is there anything else?
Not for me.
Is there a motion to approve the amended?
Motion to approve the amended agenda.
I second.
Yeah, motion to support to approve the amended agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Conflict disclosure. Does anybody have a conflict with anything on that agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to the minutes of the May 30th meeting. You have a chance to do those, Mike. Incorrect.
Here. Yep.
Agreed.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes of the May 30th. 9:30 a.m. meeting.
Support. Motion support to approve the minutes of the May 30th meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Minutes of the special meeting, June 3rd. 2025. Single page here.
Yep. I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of the June 3rd special meeting at 10 a.m. Support.
Motion and support, approve the June 3rd minutes. Special meeting. Any discussion on that? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Claims audit. Through it. Claims audit on Tuesday, finance. Only thing that we had to add to it was it added.
There were 2 1010 bills. They were added. This is the updated dollars.
This is the updated version. Cycle 73. $7,300. The big ones from JFR Architects. Quarterly Michigan, or yeah, it's quarterly Michigan State payment. Extension. Questions? Please review it.
Mhm.
Is there a motion to approve the claims on it in the amount of $153,248.80?
So moved. Support.
Should support for the claims on it. Roll call vote, please.
Tolini,
Yes,
Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes,
Libby.
Yes.
Crook.
Yes.
carried. Citizens preparing for the board. Wayne?
I have a couple things. Back in the day, Gary Nowak was chairman of the board for a while. And I don't know how it all transpired, but we brought in a consultant to talk about economic development in rural counties and rural communities. And the first words out of his mouth were, do not lose your railroad. Okay, I saw in the paper an article that you poo-pooed, whatever it was, and you probably don't have a lot to say about what they're gonna do with the railroad right away. But high-speed rail to rural communities is a major economic development opportunity. So that's just curious. I also want to update you on the situation I brought up regarding the ambulance dispatch. Now, I apologize that I wasn't able to attend and be part of the discussion with the other meetings. But had Renee and your emergency services director done some research instead of running for cover and blaming me and pointing fingers at everyone, if they had done some research, they would have found out that there was a situation here. And for some background, this is how this works, okay? It wasn't the initial dispatch that there was a problem. When an ambulance arrives on a 911 call, what happens is immediately the medic does an assessment of the patient. And if it's a code 1 emergency, the patient doesn't have a lot to say about it. If they're stable, then they have a medical history with a particular medical facility, they can request to be transported there, those sorts of things. Those decisions are made when the medic arrives. Protocol and law for ALS is that once that patient is on the ambulance, the vitals and all of the information is transmitted to the medical control director. Now, I don't know who that person is now. I did know who that person was when I was involved with setting up our ALS system over there. But what happened was the protocol is that a person in ambulance must be transported to the nearest appropriate medical facility. Very important. This patient was transported, and I don't know where, and it wouldn't matter, was transported to, this patient was presenting with an appendicitis, an apparent appendicitis. She was transported to a medical facility that did not have the capability of performing an emergency appendectomy. Okay, so here we are so far. This patient gets delivered to the ER, the ambulance leaves. The ER people come in and they say, oh, we can't deal with this. And I don't know the answer here, but this is the question. And I believe that when a request for a transport or a transfer to an appropriate medical facility, I believe that's dispatched the same way it would be dispatched for a 911 call. However, and again, these are the variables here. Typically, a transfer to another facility is not considered a code 1 emergency. An emergency appendectomy is. And so this patient from my understanding and my research and background, sat in the emergency room in this inappropriate medical facility for several hours. In the meantime, her appendix burst. I don't know how long or why it took so long for the transferring ambulance to arrive to take this patient to an appropriate medical facility that could perform an emergency appendectomy. I don't know any of those answers. But Renee can figure it out, and your emergency services director could have figured it out if they hadn't run for cover and blamed me and got Pete Jakey to take a pot shot at me in his newspaper. I don't come here to throw stones. I come here to help in an area that I'm very familiar with. Okay, something went seriously wrong and a woman almost died as a result of it. And I don't appreciate being treated as if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, and whether or not you choose to look into it, it doesn't really matter. But it happened. And it wasn't the initial dispatch. It was calling for a transfer from that initial facility to someplace where an emergency appendectomy could have been performed, could be performed and was performed. So those are the details as best I know. And again, I don't have any answers. I don't know what happened, where it failed or how it failed. Emergency services coordinator or the director, the physician on call in the office or of where the medic transfers the information to. The bottom line is this person was transferred to a facility that wasn't capable of handling the emergency. So there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You still on public comment?
Yes.
Okay,
Public comment.
Sarah Melching with Presque Township. I'm just here as a citizen to say that if there is anything brought to this board, I think it should come directly from the patient themselves. If they have had issues with dispatch, with transport or anything of the nature, it's great that we have family and friends that come in that want to vent. But I really think it's important that if there's an issue, it should be coming directly from that individual. So I just want to leave that. He walked out before I could talk, but I think it's really important that we get the information directly from that person because to send somebody else in your place, I don't know if we have all the facts, and I think it's important if this individual has an issue with what happened, that it will be coming from them.
It's all hearsay.
So, yeah.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what you did yesterday?
Oh, I will.
Okay, cool.
Anything else from the public? Dave? Comment? Any unfinished business? You don't have any
My contracts.
contracts? Where are we at with the contracts? Personnel.
They've been presented to the clerk's office for proofreading. And they're ready.
They're sitting on my desk with, they were submitted with absolutely no, no wage scale, so those need to be created by us because the attorney said he couldn't produce those for us.
Oh, the wage
And
scale.
as they sit, they reference, they still continue to reference that we began PTO time last year and that we are enrolling people in a defined contribution, which we don't have existing, so.
MERS has a defined contribution plan. I checked with MERS. They've been doing it for years.
They do have it. I spoke with the MERS,
Mhm.
spent an hour on the phone with them.
But we're not enrolled.
But things have to be done to set it up. Actuarials need to be ordered that they haven't had. They didn't even do that the last time. And basically, again, the legwork was done before it was, now it's a year old with, people that had that information up in their head on it, and
There's no notes other than, right?
So MERS is MERS mandating it? I know
No.
Messrs mandated it.
no, They're not
Messrs, you
mandated.
had to, new people coming in after such and such a date had to be enrolled in defined contribution and instead defined benefit.
No, there's no mandating of it. It's all the
Okay.
employer's choice and what they choose to set up.
Right.
How
No,
do you call it?
all three contracts are set up for defined contributions as of the time of effective date of the contracts. And I think we need to, personally, I think we need to change the MERS and the PTO start from either the first of the year, or the first of the physical year, and it's pretty late in the game to even get to the first of the physical year for PTO. But MERS, I don't know what that paperwork entails. I don't. But having set them up in the companies I worked for, which is not MERS, and dealt with, which is not MERS. That ought to get started, and then you tell us what the effective date of that needs to be. But any new hires at this point are in defined contribution per the negotiated terms of the three contracts.
You can't onboard somebody into something that doesn't exist tomorrow. And that's the conversation I had with them.
So what's the answer?
I wasn't here to provide the answers for it.
Maybe call them and see how long it's gonna take to get us set up.
Mhm.
It shouldn't be really that long for them to do that.
No, it's
The finding out the costs on the actuarial, going through that, somebody will need to look at what that is. When I spoke with him, I wasn't prepared to speak on that. I left the notes there, but he also had sent some, and I found in some old emails that, weren't left in the file that, basically he couldn't see the reason without the actuarials. He found that some of his comments were there was no significant benefit except for possibly 18 years out, and that's assuming that somebody that gets hired is going to be here in 18 years. He wasn't really about to give advice on it because he said he does the product. You guys have to decide, it's like the employer needs to make the decisions what they want to do with it.
well, that's already.
But I have a ton of notes on it upstairs from the hour I spent with Tony. He's been our representative for like 18 years or something. And some of his wording was also like he didn't understand what they were doing when they were setting that up, because he didn't think that they even understood that all the people involved in the previous thing really understood that it wasn't really going to do anything for them right away, because you're still going to have the entire unfunded portion that needs to be addressed now. It wasn't going to result in any cost savings. Again, I'd have to go over the exact ones. I have it available. Happy to do that sometime, but.
So they negotiated, they agreed to that,
Yep. All three contracts.
that's what they want.
That's what we're doing.
Guess we'll have to deliver it to them somehow.
That's what they want, right? After the fact, so.
That's the question I have. This should have been done before, but, and I agree with the clerk. A lot of this shit, excuse my language. I apologize to anyone that might be offended. A lot of this stuff should have been done way before now, but here we are sitting with it. What do we do? And we live with the contracts that were negotiated and ratified by the unions. We need to have them in front of us to sign them, get them into effect. The pay scales for the deputies are retroactive to July 1 last year. That isn't all their fault. So they shouldn't pay the price for that. But and the contracts are there ready to be signed. So
Well, if that's what they want.
We're gonna have to facilitate it. Oh. Guy from MERS gonna have to get it set up, of course, I guess.
yep.
Maybe by next meeting, you think we can do that?
Probably have a workshop with him, come in and explain all of what needs to be done for it.
Sooner the better.
Because I'm clean, so I don't know, I'll be honest with you. I know nothing about it. But we could set up a workshop for him to come in there, he could zoom in or whatever. Maybe get it done by the next meeting.
Done.
Hopefully.
We still have to have the contracts in front of us and sign it. So. And the pay scales for the deputies and needs to be adjusted per the negotiated rates. I don't know if they have been, but I know the other contracts, their pay rates have been adjusted.
Yes, they started paying them last year after the ratification. But what I'm saying is physically, the pay scales aren't even listed in the contracts.
Pay scales aren't, but the raise and the market adjustment and the annual
Well,
raise.
no, there's nothing in the paperwork from the attorney that says what anybody gets paid. There was basically, you guys have to do that portion of it. So that has to be developed yet through the notes that were left. And what was originally given to payroll was hand scratch notes, to the payroll clerk last year saying, do this for these employees. So there isn't really much there for backup on it. So.
What about when these contracts come up again the next time, are we gonna use an attorney again?
Not that one.
I mean, do we have to use an attorney? Can't negotiate, correct?
We can negotiate directly and just have an attorney finish up the document.
Document, please.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend using that guy again.
No.
In fact, there's a firm downstate that we can use them. All right. Hopefully we'll have a set up. Workshop set up a date for a workshop. Before the next meeting. New business. Building board. Deals point. There's some nomination, these people all wanted to be on there.
Yes, I have those nomination letters of interest from the pretty members.
We've got them.
There are people that had served on it previously, and Kathy had called me and said that they had an issue that needed to go before this board. And then I combed through the last 4 or 5 years of minutes, and it seems like some of these had expired and just never been visited on this board as far as that they hadn't been reappointed. So these are actually the same faces that they had on it before, but it's
Yep.
just been kind of defunct, so it's actually partial terms just to make the board whole again.
Mike Marks to serve on the Buildings Board of Appeals, expiration 3/31/2026.
Yeah,
Does anybody got-
the two of them, so this is the verbiage you use to go through the nominations, so the two of them are on the one day. So I put those together in one, and then they always had a alternate board member in case somebody couldn't show up. And so
Farmers and alternate,
that'd be a secondary.
secondary,
I make,
so we can nominate these two at the same time.
yeah, start by opening nomination.
I'll open the floor to nominations.
I nominate Mike Marks to serve on the Building Board of Appeals with his expiration to be 3/31/2026. I further nominate Kurt Nowak to serve on the Building Board of Appeals with the same expiration of 3/31/2026.
Second.
Is there any more nominations? Any more nominations? Or any more nominations?
I move we close nominations and cast unanimous ballot appointing Mike Marks and Kurt Nowak to the Building Board of Appeals, remaining term expiring 3/31/26.
Second.
Unanimous vote casted.
All in favor? I think you have to call for all in favor.
Roll
We
call.
never did before.
Oh, no. Okay.
No, actually, I don't even believe it was a motion for it. It was just that
No, it's
the
just-
clerk was instructed to cast a unanimous.
I got you. I'm sorry.
Unanimous ballot.
I further nominate David Farmer to serve as the alternative board member on the Building Board of Appeals. Term expiring 3/31/2027.
Support.
Nominated. Is there any other nominations? For the alternate board member, any other nominations? Is there any other, you have another nomination?
I'm just counting.
Any other nominations? Hearing none. I'll close nominations and cast a unanimous vote for Dave Fennell to serve as the alternate mayor. Okay. Excuse me. Zoning official pay adjustment.
As part of the letter of offer, our building official was, offered an additional $1 per hour for, to pick up, yeah, for every task taken on, and, I move that we increase his pay $1 per hour for assuming the duties of zoning administrative effective. What's today's date? 12th, 13th?
Well,
12th.
Any more discussion? We'll call the roll call vote on this. Please.
Presque.
Yes.
Hughes.
yes,
Libby.
Yes.
Brooke.
Yes.
Tellini.
Yes. Mm. Authorization to purchase, Sheriff's Department to purchase a. That's the SRO. Just to purchase it.
They have the stuff to, outfit this once it comes in.
I believe that,
That'll be additional cost once.
additional cost, but they didn't know exactly how much it.
I remember them talking.
$8,000 to $10,000. These are actually pickup trucks
Yeah, super crew.
instead of Explorers.
And this money is already in the
It's a,
SRO part grant program, yeah.
it's. Yeah. The village, the SRO village.
And out of pledge, but it's coming out of like the fund balance.
That's what it has to be used for.
Well, SRO, you can only use it for SRO.
Mhm.
Resource office. I would move that, we authorize the vehicle purchase for the sheriff's department to pursue the vehicle
Support.
purchase.
In the amount of,
In the amount of.
54,670.
54,670. Where you getting that at? It's not on there.
It's
On
on
the-
the.
It's just hard to see.
I think.
You need a magnifying glass to see it.
not me.
54,679,
I just need arms.
670.
670. Any discussion? Roll call.
Hughes.
Yes,
Libby.
Yes.
Crook.
Yes.
Tellini.
Yes.
Presque.
Yes.
Carried. Full-time position with the county clerk's office.
Basically asked Cliff to put this on here. We've talked before about it at personnel. We've talked it previously at finance. I think that everybody that's been up there has been aware of where we've been since the beginning. I'm just asking for that position, for a position, full-time position, to bring us to the staffing level that was there in 2010.
That'd be an entry level.
Yes.
That would be.
Well, it's depends on who applies for it, because
Mhm.
people in the bargaining unit can apply for it. They may come over with something different,
But if you hire off the street, that comes in as entry level.
right?
Gotcha. I'm just understanding. That's why I'm asking the question.
You have to post for it, correct?
I so move.
second,
We have a motion to the county clerk to post for a full-time position in the office. This will go, any discussion now?
Will it require a budget amendment?
I think it's gonna
It-
wind up.
This
next
is,
year's
this is
budget.
assuming, that's what I put in my budget for the next year, so assuming that that's approved, it wouldn't require it this year, because based on the time it takes to onboard somebody, in a best case scenario, you'd start them a week before the end of the fiscal year, and there's
It's probably gonna
money
be
in my
July.
payroll thing because we had so many people off unpaid
Gotcha.
last year.
Okay, just a question.
This budget.
Mm.
This budget.
Yeah, he's put in that. So,
Any other questions? So that will bring you into full staff then?
It'll bring me at the staffing levels that were there in 2010. Yeah.
I don't have any further discussion.
No more discussion. You can vote on it. Roll call that too.
Libby,
Yes.
Crook,
Yes.
Tolini,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yeah,
Number 6, ZA notice.
Currently, our zoning official is part-time on a contract with 30-day cancellation,
30 days notice.
30 days notice. And I would like to give our current zoning official the 30 days notice per her contract writing of her position being absorbed within the department.
So we have some, the inspector's taking it over and he's doing all the function.
Correct.
So there's no need yet for
Right.
the motion on all of that.
I so move.
Support.
We got motion of support. Give her 30, ZA paid her
Made her 30 days
30
notice per
days
her
notice.
contract.
under contract.
Sue? Shelley made it.
Shelley made her.
Yep.
You can roll call vote that one too, please.
Crook,
Yes.
Tolini,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yeah.
Libby.
Yes.
Number 7,
I'd like to post,
authorize a post for a part-time assistant for the building, zoning administrator,
mhm. And
building and zoning, not administrator.
right, building and zoning clerk or administrator, but I'd like that to be posted as an entry level, part-time, up to 32 hours per week.
That's,
Pardon?
It'll have to be
It would be
less than
full-time
that.
at 30 hours by contract.
yeah.
30?
30 hours makes you.
They'll have part-time employee, which is exactly why they entered into the agreement before with Al still there too, based on different things on our insurance and our MERS. They've kept them at 28 for that. Barring looking at the contract, even the I believe that they're safe at 28 hours with the part-time.
You good with that? Good with
Well,
that?
have to be 28, otherwise you gotta.
I wouldn't
pay
specify the
benefit.
hours, I would just say part-time, that way you
Part-time.
can make sure that they're considered part-time.
Yeah.
Part-time contractual.
And it'd be a part-time, it'd
Like
be a
the-
bargaining unit position according to the contract, because they're doing bargaining unit work, and so it'd be a part-time position that, let's see, yeah, it'd be a part-time position, I believe that it'd just be classified as clerk in there.
Okay. That all sound right? I'd like to amend my,
It's a regular. It's not temporary, it's not irregular, correct?
correct.
If it's regular, then it's part of the unit position.
Yep.
Is it contractual? That's what I want.
Yeah, part of the bargaining, part of the union contract.
Not outside contractual, actually, this is a position that's being created, it's under the union contract.
Part-time.
Part-time.
Mhm. I'd like to amend my motion that the building and zoning post the clerk position, part-time. That's it,
And that's to help out,
Kathy.
Kathy. There's a second on that.
Second.
They have a motion to support. More discussion. This part-time wage and this, it's the wage, entry level wage,
Somewhere around the 18 to 19 mark.
18, 19, at 28 hours.
1891 is what July.
1891. Okay.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Tolini,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes.
yeah,
Libby.
Yes.
Crook.
Yes.
I think you have to get with the clerk to get that posted correctly.
You know, we've got a couple other projects we got to work on next coming week, so.
Posting has to be signed. by The board.
You'll need to sign that posting, Cliff,
Yeah,
or you can authorize me to in his absence. Let me know when you're ready to go with it. If you can't get here, I'll come over and sign.
he'll come, we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Committee reports, what do we have? Finance. I can do finance, it's basically, we had the same thing over and over, outside the sheriff's department came in and needed to purchase that vehicle.
Radios coming up.
Radios coming up. Whether we go partial on that, the whole. Full blown deal is like $145,000, but I don't think we can swing that. So.
Okay.
We go with part of them, I guess, just to stay in compliance.
I think the way they figured it out to break it into somewhat payments for us was pretty helpful.
Yeah. Other than that, everything else was. Standard, the sheriff's department took up the most. Public health and safety.
We meet on the Tuesday prior to the final Friday meeting of the month. And at that meeting, the last Friday meeting, I gave my report. We're gonna meet again on that Tuesday, just prior to the final Friday. I'll have a report then, all right?
No,
And I noticed the district health department is not on this list, but you kind of asked me to make a report last time. I'll try to be a better job of doing it. Cliff, you and I are both on that, and I will look to give that report going forward.
very. We had a executive meeting at the district for it too. Cause we had some, I was gonna tell you about this, we had some, we gotta hire a accountant. The accountant's gone, he resigned. And that position has been filled by a lady that was an accountant for the air base down in Alpena.
Okay.
And she's really good at forensic accounting, so she's gonna come in and go through all the books and figure out what went wrong here. That's kind of where we're at, that.
I think we have a meeting next Tuesday, Cliff, in Alpena, District Health Board
Yeah.
4.
And also, a couple people are gonna be laid off due to this, the budget, to claw back in the money, so. Probably the emergency coordinators laid off. And then the HR girl, she stopped even picking up on her job, so. They gotta look for replacements for them. That's about all we had with that. Courthouse and grounds,
Next meeting,
next meeting. Personnel, nothing,
next meeting.
next meeting. Special appointment committee reports.
I haven't. In terms of the recycling group.
Yeah, I was getting some calls on that.
Yeah, you probably all got calls on that. I got 8 in one day.
Are they gonna start picking up twice?
They
I
are.
was gonna call down there, but I know I got you on it. What committee?
Yeah, they are picking up twice a week now. And it was requested that Craco get a 3rd dumpster. The inquiry was made and in talking to Chris Gee, GFL, Chris said, now that we're picking up twice a week, let's see how it goes. At one time, Craco had 3 dumpsters, Presque had 4, and one was taken from Craco over to Presque. That's why the Craco got down to 2.
Presque has 6 now, I believe.
I know, they robbed a few and moved them
Did I
around.
tell you the cost of them dumpsters?
But the problem is, it's quite an absorbent cost even to add one more. Because what happens is one truck can go around to all stations now and load it and go and make the trip to Petoskey.
Like an extra trip.
And one more truck or one more dumpster, if things are full, like they have a tendency to be in the summer, will require 2 trips and basically double our costs for one more dumpster. His suggestion, and I agreed with him on the phone, was that we see how the first few weeks of twice a week emptying goes, and then
I can
talk
tell
about
you,
it the next
tell
week.
you from experience on the whole thing that when they go to twice a week, there's never a problem. And Craig won't have a problem, 'cause they took that dumpster away,
Right,
and when they were doing twice a week, and they can keep up. The question is we should pick out a time when you talk with Chris. Like whether it's Memorial Day, just to automatically start at the holiday. The holiday season starts with the double pickup. I mean,
right,
he can drive by, and if it's not there, he doesn't have to pick it up, but odds are they were overflowing in Alice Township.
as they weren't just about
And we
every
got
township.
two there.
Yeah, every Monday.
Well, and then, my concern was that, with the nice spring and people coming up to clean up, our spring requirement for 2 trips a week started a few weeks earlier than that, and that's what caused the uproar. I think the week following Memorial Day isn't quick enough. They need to start that a week or two before Memorial Day, twice a week.
Or at least by kind of Memorial Day.
Yeah, the week of before Memorial Day, so they're empty when people show up. But he said, we'll monitor that and move on from there, and he'll give me a report.
He would know, I mean, he'll know.
Yeah, his drivers come back to him, hey, I'm loaded. I,
Said it's truck chart.
and then there's a second thing here, I got approached by Carolyn Haskey. She owns the property that is the Hawks post office. She is required and is moving forward with a new septic and drain field on the Hawks post office. And she asked that these dumpsters be moved so she can install the system. She needs to remove some trees. Yeah, because currently they sit on her property. I said, I'll look into it. I left 2 messages with the current owner of the old Toby's General Store there.
Is that the property she owns, is this general store,
She owns the post office.
post office?
Yep.
I didn't even know they shut the post office down.
Nope, it's not, it's still active. Post office still active.
Renting it,
She has for
leased it to the post.
45 years,
Long time.
50 years, 60 years. Anyway, and
What about the owner of
the store, I've left 2 messages.
Manischewski's there, can you?
Yeah, I've left 2 messages for the current owner. That current owner also lives out in Occack Township, currently owns Hammond Bay Trading Post that is shut down, and works out of town. I've left 2 messages for him about shifting them over where, because those were originally there on that little gravel turnaround in the back, and then they got shifted over to Carolyn Haskey's property, and she never knew that they were doing it. It just happened. So short of them getting back to it, we can move it over there and then figure out what to do. And should he come back on us? And then if somebody calls and say, hey, these things are on my property. Yeah, she needs a new septic and drain field.
But does she want it back on her property?
No, because that will be her drain field. Heavy trucks running onto that.
You gotta find a place to put them.
And I'm hopeful because Toby, when he owned the store, said it was no problem. Then they got shifted over there at some point. The worst case scenario is I'm going to the Bismarck Township meeting right after the first of the month to talk to them about if push come to shove, moving them out to the township hall on Klaus Road.
I don't know why they're not at Township Hall.
Agreed.
They are everywhere else.
It's a more convenient, put your eyes on its site when you're driving through Hawks that you see them right there. But, and it's easier to keep an eye on them from the locals that keep an eye on them. So long story short, I'm dealing with that situation and I'll update you if there's something that comes up.
So if that falls through, we'll put them at Nighthawk, right? No.
Yeah,
What about your house?
for a fee.
I'm in Ellis Township. Drive. People.
No, it'll work itself out.
Yeah, they're all at township halls,
Yep.
really.
And that's where they really
Valve
should.
Except Graco.
It's at Craco.
Graco's hall is too hard to get to.
Yeah. Well, that's my update on recycling.
For the people who call them, I was kind of referring them to you, but
I know. Clerk's office did, you did, Anybody else on the table?
Overstuff.
No, it's all good. And I don't mind taking those calls. I really don't.
Any other special appointments?
Well, I attended a DHHS meeting today and there is, I mean, I found it interesting. There's a lot of money out there that nobody's taking advantage of, like scholarships that nobody's applying for. So I'm gonna be talking to the counselor up at school to have her get word out there. A lot of them, you have to have a family member working there. And they're not huge, but every little bit helps. And nobody's applying for these, and they have another program right now that they're offering, they got a bunch of diapers in from the state. So they're offering for anybody who has a current case. If all they gotta do is fill out the form and they can get 2 boxes of diapers a month for 4 months, 2 boxes of white and 2 boxes of ointment. So that'll help somebody.
Heck, yeah.
But I put the word out there and she asked me, and I put it on Facebook so people would see. This is available because people aren't noticing these things are available here. So it helps.
Yep.
They brought that to your attention. At the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I just found it really interesting.
Any other reports then? Commissioners' comments?
I got a call this afternoon, Mr. Chairman, from some gals at the Akiak Outdoor Center. On September 20th, they got a special event called Dark Skies, where they got people coming in, astronomers, Michigan State University professors. It's a big money-making event for them. And they had a concern because they understood that a previous board of commissioners had elected there to be no camping. Well, they're gonna have people invited to bring tents, and that's camping as far as I'm concerned. And if it rains, they got the dorms and stuff that's available. It's a money-making event. We as a county are trying to get those people to be self-sufficient. And this is a chance for them to raise money to be self-sufficient, but they had a question of legality. Are they overstepping their bounds if a prior board, Mr. Chop, I'm glad you walked in here. You're not on that committee, but you were on the Friends of Akiak board, aren't you? And so, okay. Yeah, so anyway, that's the lady's concern. Don, you were the president past board. Do you recall ruling that they should not have any camping?
The previous board, I'm pretty sure they didn't allow camping because didn't want it to cut into the rental of the buildings.
Okay. But this, as I
I
understand
can
it,
remember.
they're
specifically
charging
Mike
money
Barrett,
coming up in this program, aren't they? It's not a freebie.
There's never been camping.
I don't,
You're not sure.
I haven't, this is the first I've heard about it.
Yeah.
I know they talked about doing that, but
Well,
if it's a 1-day thing and it rains, you're not gonna see any sky.
Mhm.
well, that's the truth. And if they don't,
So,
it's a horrible.
and the
weather.
point of no camping there is that people should be using the building, the camp, you know.
Yeah,
And we had people would bring their RVs and because they didn't wanna sleep in a bunk. Well,
this I didn't know, and I
That's what
talked
it
to the
is.
ladies. But anyway, they said it's quite an event if they're in their tents and they're looking up and the stars they can see the stars and everything. So they're pretty excited about that. But they don't
My
wanna,
thoughts were that.
they don't wanna be
if they're
doing
in the
something
tent-
illegal.
If they're in the tent though, they're gonna have to come out of the tent to look at. the
So they can
sky.
just stick their head out and look. But anyway, I don't know, I said,
I
I'll
don't
bring
know
it
if
to the
there's a
board,
policy book.
I'm here.
There's even a policy book, but I know on the previous board that came up and the reason was just like Mr. Chapel said, was to quit pulling away from the rental of buildings.
I can see that point.
And they didn't want,
and
like you
we're
said,
not also,
you
the
know-
other part is they're not set up in the campground, there's health department issues with that too.
you have to have.
Well, I didn't know all this background. I can see the point of both sides. It's just like a 1 or 2 day affair. It's not, they're opening up for camping year round.
I don't know if it's gonna happen.
But
though.
they got
Yeah.
a real big, this is a big deal for them. So anyway, I thought I'd bring it to the board. I'm not sure. Personally, I have no problem with it, but maybe the board has ruled it's ironclad, you can't do it. So I don't know.
No, anything can be changed, I'm sure, you know, it's just the fact of the matter is we were doing it that way for a reason. We just didn't do it out of happenstance. I mean, there was a reason why we didn't have camping there.
Well, I don't know if there's a policy officially written or not. I don't know if it's proper to make a motion to grant them a 2-day deal where they have their tents out there for the open skies. And that would preclude doing it more than 2 days.
Specific to this event.
Yeah, specific to this event.
Deal.
That would give them some cover.
You can try to bring a motion to the board if you want right now. I mean,
Well, I would make a motion and
Do you have the
we,
dates for it? Do you have the,
September 20th.
yeah, September 20th is their Dark Skies event. And that's where they're charging admission. They're making money on this. And it's a big deal. They got an astronomer coming in, they got Michigan State professor coming in. And they would really like cover on this, and so I'm gonna make a motion that we grant a
it's for the
2-day,
week, that weekend.
that weekend, right? That they would have the right then to have their tent set up like they would like to for the Dark Skies project.
That's a Saturday, September 20th. It's a Friday, Saturday.
You got a motion.
Yeah,
Do we have
keep in
support?
mind that you're gonna need to do the health department thing. You're the owner.
So, John, you're suggesting that we would be out of compliance unless we have the health department on board?
Oh, yeah. That's a liability.
That's part of the reason why we didn't.
Exactly.
I would offer up to this board that with the amount of lead time that you have on this, you consider tabling it.
Table it.
And find out if that's an issue and possibly even check with your civil counsel and make sure that you're not opening yourself up. to
Yeah,
fraud.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't aware of these things. I'm
Well, he doesn't have a
for
second.
health board's gotta be on board.
The clerk.
Yep.
So
Right on there.
I'd have no problem in tabling it.
You got a second anyway, so she's dying for lack of support. We can bring it up, have council look at it, but like you said, there are health issues. It's just for some background, when they did the camping out at the Ottawa Speedway for the big rig,
Yeah,
he had to have the health department come in and he had to have a whole plan with the special use permit. Because it wasn't a permitted use where he was doing it. And the health department does have to come in. You have to have water, electricity, sewage, placement of the bathroom. So we could check into that. But there's
good. I think that's good.
I got a number for the health department official if you need it.
Well, I think I need to get back to that group and alert them to that. And maybe they're the ones that need to go to the health department.
No.
Was there any offer?
What's that, John?
County owns it, so it's their problem
Yeah, it's their property.
or issue, right?
Yeah,
So we have to go to the health department.
We're just gonna follow
Right.
council's
Yeah.
advice.
Mhm.
We'll follow council's advice.
I'll check with Zach at the health department too. I'll check with Zach at the health.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner comment? Government officials. Val?
Well, I'm just, I guess I just want to be. I want to say that possibly we should be cautious in adding new additional staffing before you look at the total cost to make sure. You know, when you add staff, it isn't just the salary. There's other costs involved. And
Full-time staff.
full-time staff, yeah, and so we need to. Be cautious what we vote on, since I don't believe either of these really looked at costs. No one ever talked about costs, it wasn't part of discussion and. Just a little. Bit of caution, I think would be a good idea. Before it's a done deal.
Any of these flyers about our new property fraud alert service that we're offering, feel free to hand out to whoever might be interested in that information.
I need several here. We want
Thank you.
depending.
Keep them to you. I think, Kelly probably brought around to your office. Extras to hand out wherever. This is a free service offered to the constituents to receive, they can sign up for a program where they would receive alerts if anything is recorded against their property. It's very easy to get signed up and you can go into the program, put your name in, find your document, link that document to the alert. And it is a alert that comes through email. If you know someone that doesn't have an email, maybe an elderly relative, whatever, possibly they could have a family member help set that up for them. The other option is we do have the land records online and we keep the certification date very current. Most likely you can go on today and see what was recorded yesterday. That's how current we keep the information. And they can put their name in and also check that way to see if there's anything new out there. But that is in conjunction with the new cloud search website that we have added in addition to what we have currently for searching land records. And that is simply a bar where you would type in a name, a property, part of the property description. You can try a tax code, anything that's indexed into our system would pull a record in. And there's also an advanced search, which gives the ability to add other criteria for searching. So just trying to get the word out that this is what's available. I'm working with the webmaster for the county website to get that added as a link there as well.
Is there a cost of the service?
No.
To the county there was, yep, and this was all through previously in place.
Back to the people, though.
I'm sorry,
Back to the people.
no fee to the constituent, correct,
And active now.
it's active now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sarah?
So I'll start with, I went down to Lansing yesterday, Cam Cabot invited me down and the other counties within his region. So Alpena, Alcona, Presque and Sheboygan County, so we were honored with a nice award down on the floor of the House of Representatives. We spent the day there as guests of theirs. It was just a really fun, action-packed day to be a part of all that hustle and bustle down in Lansing. So yeah, so that was kind of exciting. And although they thanked me for my efforts, honestly, it goes to everybody in this county because it wasn't me. I was behind the scenes and I was proud to accept it, but it really needs to go to everybody, the sheriff's department, road commission, our commissioners. Cliff, you were a huge part of it.
That's
So-
surprised to see you on the floor. I seen you there at Payne
Yeah.
Across. Oh,
So, yeah, so that was a really cool thing. So, I almost didn't go, but I'm
Oh.
glad I did. And, my son actually tagged along, that's 11, and he thought it was the greatest thing he'd ever experienced in his life. So that was kind of cool. So, so yeah, so that was neat. We are going to be doing, and I think you all probably got the email, we're going to be doing a first responders debriefing on the ice storm. So we're not, our meetings are public, but we're not advertising. It's specifically for first responders. Commissioners were invited. So we will be holding a second meeting that will be open up to the public and those volunteers that took part in the sheltering process. So anybody that was involved or wants to be involved or any organization. I'm still kind of putting it together. It's going to be the Presque County Volunteer Organization Pacific and Disaster, so it's called Pico Boad. Presque County Boad. And so we'll begin the process of looking at ramping up shelters. Unfortunately, other than our schools, we don't have any facilities that can hold 200-300 people. And oftentimes our schools have children going to school in them, so sometimes those facilities aren't ideal either. Although they are ideal facilities, the kids still sometimes are going to be going to school even during a disaster, so. So that meeting has not been scheduled. It will be scheduled after this first meeting is done. And then I spoke to Alan Berg at length today. We're going to be putting together another debriefing and planning meeting from a regional standpoint, so I'm kind of helping him with that. So Presque Electric is such a regionally large organization covering so many counties that we need to really ramp up like communications and an understanding of their population and their customer base, that type of thing. So there's a lot of things that came out of this storm that quite honestly, Presque Electric shouldn't have been dealing with. And we just need to help understand what those things were. We need to educate the public, you know, what to call dispatch about, what to call Presque Electric about. To try to eliminate some of that extra work that slows the process up for fixing things. So anyways, we're gonna have a meeting with them, and regional emergency managers, probably road commission, fire chiefs. It will kind of unfold from there. So that'll be another meeting that we're gonna have. And the VOAD, the Presque County VOAD group, we're gonna be, my plan is to meet quarterly. So we're working on this process quarterly. So maybe one meeting will be in Onaway, one will be in Rogers City, that type of thing. So we'll kind of shift the ground for folks. And then the last thing, yesterday, although I was gone and I was gone again today downstate for meetings, the Small Business Administration, I'm not sure how this happened because typically this SBA loan, this process would not be authorized, to my understanding, until after the presidential declaration was either approved or declined. But it got approved prior to anything with the presidential declaration. So the SBA monies are available to individuals and to businesses. So I'm kind of trying to get that information out. I will be in the office tomorrow, getting information out to the advance, getting stuff out on social media. But because Sheboygan County met the threshold, the criteria for SBA, any contiguous county touching Sheboygan County also qualifies. So the other counties are not real happy about this, but we fall under that. So Monday, we will have an SBA representative here we're going to start off with a week. If we have to do longer, we'll talk about that later, but they will be in the county at the new Huron Bank Annex building. And they will be there to walk people through the process, answer questions. Again, it's for businesses and individuals. I have lots of questions because I don't know all the details about SBA and learning, but you know, it potentially could even, I looked at the interest rates are very, very low. So my first thought is if somebody wants to hire a logging company to come in and clean up their property, is that something that would be covered? So I have lots of questions, but that will be happening Monday, starting Monday. That information will also be available as of tomorrow. I don't have all the information right now, but tomorrow morning.
Mostly that falls under the EIDL program.
What's that?
Mostly that falls under the EIDL program, EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And very low interest rates. There's some caps on it, but they're pretty lenient. They do not tell you what to spend the money on.
Right.
So if you I've been through this in before I retired life. If you had economic loss or any kind of economic impact, and it's fairly easy to document that, everybody did during this, then you can qualify for up to X amount of dollars. And the last interest rate I saw was like 3.2%.
2.75 right now.
2.75, and that can be up to 20 years and sometimes 30, depending upon what it's for in your financial position.
Right. And businesses, I did read it's only a 3-year loan for businesses.
What's the limit on the amount?
Yeah, so the, for individual, for any, mortgage or repairs, it's up to 100,000 for an individual. And I, like I said, 20 to 30 years, I think, and then, the businesses, I think it's a 3-year. And that's up to 500,000, I think.
Yeah. During COVID, that was a longer period than 3 to 5 years, but, it depends. SBA is pretty flexible.
Yeah, so, I'll get the information out tomorrow. I did put a little blurb out on social media that it's coming, but it won't just be on social media, we'll get it out in the newspaper and that kind of thing too, so. So that's great news, that's gonna be here to assist people, and I hope people go in and ask questions and take advantage of it, so.
Did you hear anything on the presidential
Um,
declaration?
well, we got something, from Captain Sweeney with Michigan State Police just yesterday, and, there's still no word, it's taking a long time. I think what's happened is,
That doesn't happen, that's gonna squash everything.
I'm not sure the SBA thing will still stand.
So will the money from the state.
Yeah, the money from the
legislature.
state, but yeah, I
That's not
mean,
near enough.
companies will just, the county will have to get creative, the city will have to get creative, Presque Electric will have to get creative.
Presque Electric's gonna have a meeting at their board of directors, members meeting, rates meeting on raising rates. It's gonna be on June 24th at 9:30 in the morning. I encourage everybody to attend that. See what their plan is.
In the presidential declaration, I don't believe that, it's intentional that it's taking this long. It's just, I think there's a lot of things going on right now that are taking, a priority away from maybe this, so. We'll keep our fingers crossed and.
That and the fact that data they have to gather from all those involved has to be consolidated in the right form laid
Yeah,
out.
we haven't even started that yet.
Yeah,
No,
so
until we get the presidential declaration, that won't even begin. So
That's gonna take-
we just did the preliminary, and that was huge doing the preliminary. So, yeah, so once we get the presidential declaration, it's go time. I mean, it's.
But it still take at least a year.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, once we get that presidential declaration, then we're gonna need Darren's full-time person to start working on that stuff, so.
oh, yeah, okay.
But that's all I have.
They got nothing to do there, right there.
And you, that it for the government. Employees. Correspondence.
Correspondence, no action needed on it, but there was I'm emailing there for review that you might want to look at later to figure out if, you want to look into it, regarding the medical examiner, county medical examiner that was sent. I got it, it's Ash from Bannon Funeral Home. There was an email, or no, it was a letter in the mail there from Luann Banish regarding dumpsters, and we kind of talked about that too. Just that, and yeah, it was just that, and then your annual report from Hunt and the correspondence.
Correspondence is what I handed out to these board members to read. Well. Opinion from the attorney on the ARPA funds. Review that, address that, and
Future.
the obligation of the ARPA funds. No other correspondence, then is there a motion for payroll?
Also, Mr. Chairman.
There a motion, it's perfect.
Or
Motion to work for payroll and roll call vote.
Pritzky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Brooke.
Yes.
Leany.
Yes. Any business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn. Support. 8:10. Means adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Means adjourned. Yeah.